Welcome. If you've recently suffered the devastating loss of someone dear to you, there are some things that Ron and I want to share with you. Things that we think are really important for you to know right away. So my friend, I want you to imagine that you are sitting in a room with the two of us and Ron and I are speaking directly to you. Grief and loss are misunderstood in our society. They seem to be taboo subjects. Ron and I often talk to grievers shortly after a loss to help them make sense of what is happening because they often feel ill-equipped and often their friends and family members feel ill-equipped as well. So let's begin with understanding what grief and loss are. Though most people see loss as someone dying, and of course it most definitely is, a loss is actually experienced when we have any negative change or circumstances in our life or a familiar pattern of behavior ends. So we know death is a loss, but so is a divorce, a broken relationship, major move, abuse, and so many other life circumstances. The reason this is important is that if you've suffered other major life losses prior to this most recent one, they can impact how you respond to this one. And the impact that this one is having on you can be felt even greater, as grief can be cumulative.
So what is grief? Grief is the normal and natural reaction to any loss in your life. The key words here being normal and natural. We want you to get that. That does not minimize its difficulty, but we tell you this to assure you that you are not crazy, nor are you weak, and you don't need to be fixed. Whatever you're going through and feeling is normal, even though it can be hard, scary, and confusing. And guess what? No two people grieve the same way. It's very unique to the individual, even if they experience the same kind of loss. Often people judge others' reactions because they don't think that they're grieving properly. So once again, there is no right way to grieve. One person may be outwardly emotional, and one person may be closed and isolated. One way is not better than the other, so don't compare or judge. Let's look at how grief impacts the whole of you. It gets you emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. You may experience a roller coaster of emotional energy. You'll be up and down, and you go in and out of the same feelings. This is incredibly draining. Most of us could not have imagined what grief was really like prior to experiencing it for ourselves. It's really much worse than you think it is, isn't it? And it's very difficult to explain to people when you're going through it. You may experience a sense of numbness, an inability to sleep, fatigue, loss of appetite, pains. You may be experiencing reduced concentration, forgetfulness, and confusion. And this is such a big one because we can feel like we're losing our minds. We hear others talking, but their words make no sense. We misplace things. We can't perform simple arithmetic. Grief sucks your brain cells out, I think, and I am always telling people about the brain fog of grief. It's a real condition. We have a whole episode on this, as well as one on the emotions of grief, so we won't get into all the details today. You may have lost your zest for life, however. Grievers might not really want to take their own life, thank goodness, but they can lose their desire to go on. I remember so well, after my wife died, there were times when I was going to bed and I thought, you know what? I think I'd be just fine if I didn't wake up in the morning. I want you to know this is a normal reaction, and even if there are wonderful things going on in your life to live for.
We think one of the most helpful things we can tell you right now that you need to learn early on is to lower your expectations of yourself. This is really important. Let me say it again. Lower your expectations of yourself. As Ron mentioned, your whole body and mind is impacted by your grief. You're not running on all cylinders right now. You're not playing with a full deck. Just accept it, okay? It's probably why you think you're going cuckoo sometimes. You cannot do what you used to be able to do. And if you try to accomplish all you could before, you're going to be frustrated, exhausted, and disappointed. We go into greater detail about this in another episode too. But what you need to know right now is that you must lower your expectations and please give yourself grace. You know who else you're probably going to need to lower your expectations for and give grace to? Your friends and possibly your family. We often find that those we thought would be there for us aren't, and those we didn't expect to be there are. It's easy for us to be hurt or upset about this, but I'd like to explain what's going on. I think it's going to help. In most cases, it's not that your friends or family don't care. It's usually because they have no idea what to do and they're really uncomfortable, so they do nothing because they don't want to make it worse. The other reason is that they simply just don't know. We have an episode where we help you tell them what you need, so please check it out. It can really help. But the point I want you to get here is, you are probably going to be let down by others. So lower your expectations and give them grace too. Usually their hearts are right. One of the things that helped me when I felt let down after Mark died was to remember how I responded to my friends who had lost loved ones prior to his death. You know, when I look back at some of the things that I did and the ways that I wasn't there and how I judged their grief, I was horrified. There's nothing like being a griever to understand what grievers need. It made me a lot more understanding of people who let me down once my eyes were opened. And this is also why finding support through grief groups, organizations, and books can be important. And we have a huge, huge list of resources for you when you're ready. Check them out.
So you might be wondering then, what's the cure for grief? Well, oh, how I wish it were only that simple. The only cure, if we can use that word for grief, is to grieve. And that's hard work. The only way out of grief is through it. There is no easy way around it. We may try to avoid the pain or get over it as quickly as possible, but it usually doesn't work that way. We need to find the courage to go through this experience of grief. Learning this point is a major key to your recovery.
My friend, we've been in the deep pit of grief. And I know I never thought I would get out of it. And you might be there right now. The anguish I experienced was indescribable, to a point where I had no desire to go on. Every part of my being ached. I wouldn't have taken my own life, but I was just fine if a bus hit me on the way home. And you heard how Ron described the same kind of feelings. I had no idea how to get out of the darkness, or if I ever would. And imagining that life could ever be good again seemed impossible. But fast forward to today, and we are living proof that there is life after a devastating loss. And we've watched many people heal and learn to live forward while still remembering their loved one. You may not be ready for any of this yet, but we want to leave you with some hope that you can have joy in the future, that you and your life can be good again, even if it's different. You just can't imagine it yet. And that's just fine. Right now, let's just get you through this and help you take care of yourself. Grief is a process that takes time. So hold on, my friend. Hope is still alive, even if you can't see it yet. Let's get you through this day, or just get you through this minute.
Right. So folks, in wrapping up today's episode, there's a few things we want you to take with you and remember. One is everybody's grief journey is unique, and we are all impacted physically, mentally, and emotionally after a devastating loss. We also must lower our expectations of ourselves and others, and while we may not like this one, the only way through grief is to grieve. Let's also leave you with some stepping stone questions here. First of all, I want to say that personal awareness is always the starting point to healing. So take a moment to consider your current state of mind and then ask yourself, how is grief impacting me physically, emotionally, and mentally right now? Where might you need to lower your expectations of yourself or of others? Here's a reflection we want to leave you with. And this we say throughout the program. We don't have to do this alone. You don't have to do this alone. That's what the program's all about. We want to give you a place where you can feel support and belonging. Because something we know is your pain is very real. But we are living proof that hope is real and so is healing. So hang in there, my friend.
From our hearts to yours, thank you so much for listening. Hope to see you soon.